Ladies and gentlemen, rock fans from all around the world, welcome back to another wicked episode. Well, some people say wicked, other people might say different things. To Musical People and Journeys, the new rock album review show. I'm your host, Nige. Welcome to my today's panel, to Paul, to Lauren, and welcome for the first time to Andy. Hi, welcome, Andy.
Hello there.
Well, Andy, welcome to the show for your first time.
Yeah, well, I've got the invite. Must be in the hallowed circle.
So obviously we've known each other for a couple of years. We've been in a song contest, and sometimes I think you are, right on spot with my syncing with my rock taste, and other times I want to take your head and smash it against the wall because you don't give me any points.
Yeah, I'm not doing too well at the taste of Nigel at the moment.
For our viewers, how would you say your rock taste lie? Where do you, if I say what's your sweet spot in terms of rock, what would it be? How would you describe it?
Actually, it is kind of a little bit over the place. You're not going to like this, Nigel, but I am a 90s child. I do like my Britpop, which you will hate. I know that. I don't care. That is what I like. But back in the day, Iron Maiden, Love Iron Maiden, or all that kind of stuff, and all the way through, if I like it, I like it. So there you go.
I don't dislike some Britpop. There's just a certain band that I hate and despise because of their style. It's nothing. There was other bands at the time that I absolutely loved. It was just a particular one band who's, as I won't go into it, who's recently reformed. But anyway. Today, let's find out. Well, we're going to find out a little bit more about your taste as we go through. For people who've tuned in for the first time, we review the latest videos, rate them out of 5 for our personal taste, and see if they get to a Hall of Fame. And we are approaching that time of the year where it becomes Album of the Year time. Anyway, but today's offering, we are looking at Danger Zone and their album Shut Up. Who are Danger Zone? They're guitarist Roberto Priori founded Italian band Danger Zone in the 1980s. So, coming back to our days after recording various demos, undergoing several lineup changes, the band released their first LP, Victim of Time, in 1984. By 1987, they began attracting significant attention in Italy to their live performances at various hard rock festivals. In the spring of 1988, Danger Zone opened up for heavy metal legend Saxon in Verona, Italy. This performance led promoter and manager Francesco Sanavio to offer the band a production deal aimed at breaking into the US market. That summer, Danger Zone played a successful gig at the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles. In 1989, they began working on a new album with executive producer Stephan Galfas. Suffice us to say, they've been around a long time. Paul's going like, hey, come on. We're still in the 80s. And sometimes I do wonder that Paul is still in the 80s, so we'll start with him, shall we? Paul, Danger Zone, Shut Up. Did you want him to shut up, or did you want him to keep on rocking? What did you think?
I know what they want you to do, but that's another story. So, yeah, these Italian hard rockers certainly rip it up with their new album, hopefully shutting up doubters since their last album, which was released just before the COVID pandemic, which then ruined their promotion and subsequent tour. So, and I'm Guy Como vocals are strong and surprisingly good, considering English is not his native language. It has some grit to it, which feels comfortable in this rock genre. The album builds up to the 4th track, I Don't Care, which is probably the strongest track. However, where there should have been the jump off to greater things, the remainder of the tracks tend to be much more melodic rock. To be honest, a bit samey, which becomes blatantly apparent after a couple of listens.
Now, somebody who's never samey after a couple of listens, she's always got something new to say. Lauren, welcome back to the show. Lovely to see you again after your debut a couple of months ago. You've not been well. All recovered now, I hope.
Yeah, all back in shape and all good. Yeah, I missed everyone last month.
Oh, well, we're here.
You're very sad.
We're here. Don't be sad anymore. Tell us, did Danger Zone cheer you up? Did it get you back into the groove?
Um, well, overall, I quite enjoyed the album. It was one of those things where it had like a really, you could tell it was of a certain style. And as soon as like we read through sort of like a little bit of the background, like forming in the 80s, that sort of thing, it made the album and its sound make a lot of sense. Because one of the first notes I wrote down was like, oh, yep, it's got that retro sort of sound to it that I really like. Great vocals was one of the notes I had. It was a little bit synthy in places for my taste, but that's just a personal thing. Loved how the guitars sounded. For me, overall, like some of my favourite songs, like Faithless Ways, stuff like that, loved the flow of it. Thought it was a really cool thing to listen to. For me personally, it's not going to be an automatic go-to, but if it's on, I ain't going to turn it off.
Right. Well, let's find out if he's on. We'll turn him off or not. Andy, right? Your first album review, Danger Zone. Shut up. What did you think? What did you think?
It was very retro. It was like going back and listening to something which was made in the 80s. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you could listen to like a Whitesnake album, sort of like circa 1987, and that's just bang on. But I guess probably it's now, what, 35 years later, plus? And it does sound like it is, like, just straight from the 80s. But it was rock by numbers, quite workmanlike, I do feel. But it did have some solid riffs in it. It did have, some good ballads as well. The slow stuff is quite good. Couple of good songs on there, which I thought, I Don't Care was actually quite good. And don't get me wrong, the musicianship was pretty good. They can play, they're not bad, but it was just got moved on for quite some time and just doing the old classics. It felt like a band just sort of like playing their best songs from the 80s, and nothing's happened since then.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We have a lot of bands this month actually. Some on the other stage as well that you would say is part of the new wave of classic rock scenario. And whether you decided that this was part of that new wave of classic rock or just classic rock, quite generic in that way. And I think they tried to, with the some of the synth sounds to infuse it, and I think that made it a little bit different, but not fundamentally different. I agree with what Andy just said and everybody else. It was very much that 80s sound, but it was very well produced. It was very, very sound, but there was no real standout tracks for me. I enjoyed it as an album, but there was nothing really that stood out. There's nothing I really went, oh, I'm going to add that to my cool playlist. It was solid. It was just a solid generic 80s style album, and I wouldn't even potentially put it into the new wave of classic rock either. I don't think there was enough differences or enough vibe in there that, of modernising that sort of sound to do that. But it was solid, and it was well performed, and it was good. So there we go. Normally we have a lot of time. I apologise to Trish for not reading out her notes. She's not going to make me a cup of tea the next time I see her, I imagine. But that will have to do that. She enjoyed the album as well. Pretty solid. Let's start then. Let's find out. Will it get into our Hall of Fame? Let's find out then. Paul, let's start with you. What did you give? For this?
I give it a 3.5.
Lauren.
3.5.
Andy, your first vote.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah. I give them a 3, so somewhere in the middle. And Trish enjoyed it. She gave it a 4. Which basically, I'll tell you where it was. 16 albums reviewed this month. This lot I don't know. My other friends have done another 8. Danger Zone, that would give it 3.3 overall. We've reviewed by the end of this month. We reviewed 444 albums in total. Wow, pretty good. This is not quite the top half, 238. And this year, 142 albums. This will be 80th on that score. So, it's solid. It's a solid score. It's a good album. It's a solidly good album. And if you like that sort of stuff, the 80s kind of vibe feel a little bit fresher. certainly go and check out Danger Zone and Shut Up. So they're our joint 11th favourite album of the month. Right, okay, thank you ever so much to my wonderful Benner, to Paul, to Andy, welcome to the show, hope you stick around, and to Laura, keep rocking. Goodbye, everybody!
Bye.